questions for Airservices. I have your name down, Senator McDonald. Is that right?
Terrific. Yes.
Okay. Senator McDonald.
Thanks, Chair. Good evening. I wanted to continue asking some questions about the decommissioning of the instrument landing system at Townsville Airport. We've already spoken about this. You're going to come back to me with some answers from Air Force, but I note before this estimates you haven't been able to. Did you want to update me on anything before I start?
Look, we've indicated that Defence and Queensland Airport Corporation are the ones that are actually running that particular project. I'll pass to Mr Curran to respond to any further questions that you have in regards to our communication with them.
Thank you, Senator. Peter Curran, Airservices Deputy Chief Executive Officer. Thank you for the question, Senator. As I think we provided to your office and in discussion, the role of Airservices here is in relation to the ILS itself. The determination around the runway extension is a matter for Defence, and so to the extent that we have a role in the project, it is around the replacement of that ILS. So as they extend the runway, we will have to turn the ILS off, and we won't be able to...
We have turned the ILS off?
Yes, correct, Senator. Yes, sorry. The ILS is turned off, and we will not be able to turn it back on until the runway is near completion for us to have access to that land again. That's why there's a significant gap where the ILS will not be available. In the interim, other approach procedures will be made available, and we understand that Townsville Airport are also undertaking some additional activity to look to improve the other non-precision approach minima, the landing minima, in that time.
Am I right that the decommission period is now from October 2025, so off, to August 2027?
Senator, that sounds correct. From our perspective, our works take 9 months, or approximately 9 months.
So I appreciate that this is not necessarily your responsibility apart from reinstalling the equipment, but given that Defence won't come back to me and the aviation industry has got no information on what the alternate precision support is, and that Flying Doctor is having to make alternate arrangements to Charters Towers, that we have charter operators who, everybody has no idea what's going on. It is a significant Northern Australia landing field. I spoke to you about there being nothing in Townsville. If there's a cyclone, nothing in Mount Isa as well, so if there's a cyclone, Cairns will be out, Townsville will be out, It seems a very limited response from government to not be able to answer these pretty basic questions, and to seem to have almost no regard for what the alternate proposition is. Given this is Defence, given this is a significant place for Air Force facilities, should we have any sort of crisis, evacuation, Pacific Island nations, much less, an external threat, I'm perplexed as to why I'm finding it so hard to get any information.
Senator, I can't talk for Defence, unfortunately. But what I can say is, for our part in the process, the recommissioning of the ILS, we will be doing as rapidly as we can, and working with the airport and Defence to make sure that we get that back up and running at the earliest time frame possible. I just can't talk for Defence, I'm afraid.
Minister, I appeal to you as another Northern Australian. Airservices can't answer. I've been over to the Defence Estimates Committee last time. We'll get back to you, Senator. Crickets. There's nowhere to land in wet seasons, low visibility, low cloud, and this is what we're getting is SOS. So no Flying Doctor, no immediate access to Townsville Airport, no emergency evacuations from Cairns, because we know the problems Cairns has. Townsville now doesn't have ILS for, nearly 2 years.
So is the Flying Doctor going into Mount Isa?
No, the Flying Doctor has a base at Townsville, but they don't have instrument landing, an instrument landing system. It's been taken out while Defence extends the runway. an important project we all support. 2 years. I ask you, Minister, perhaps you could get some action,
I'll certainly
please.
have a look at it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I know
I really
what it's,
appreciate it.
I know what it's like up north, and we just had the cyclone recently, as you saw, with Darwin.
Yeah.
We're also similar in terms of the shared defence facility with the airport there. So yeah, I'll have a look.
I'd appreciate that, because we seem to have nobody able to take responsibility, and I do worry. This is, if we do have any sort of crisis situation, we don't have the best technology available to Australians, available to Australian aircraft, and the aviation industry in the region can't get any answers. And so they're really looking to the estimates process to try and get the answers that they can't get in a work environment. And Townsville Airport's trying, but you can see that they're not having much success.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, chair's gone?
I'm on the chair now. So.
Terrific.
Sorry, still in
Thank you. This morning, the Infrastructure Department Secretary confirmed that Minister King has received a letter from the Minister for Finance requesting identification of saving measures across the department and agencies, as was reported in the AFR last week. Has the Minister discussed this request with your organisation, Mr Sharp?
Thank you, Senator. The Chair and I met with the Minister recently.
Minister King or Minister Gallagher?
Minister Catherine King.
Okay, yes.
And we did discuss where are we at financially. We're financially challenged, and one of those discussions was our savings program.
Yep.
We actually have in our corporate plan this year $100 million, much more than 5%, and that's because we're in a position where the efficiencies are needed. We're funded by the airlines. I need to be able to look the airlines in the eye and say we're operating efficiently. And we've just recently shared with the airlines our forecast for the next 5 years and the productivity that we're looking to deliver in that process.
So when
the official 5%, Senator, hasn't been communicated.
Sorry?
But the official communication that you referenced hasn't been sent to us, but we have.
But Minister King, so that's what I was.
Yes.
So whether Minister Gallagher wrote to departments and agencies separately, or whether has asked cabinet ministers to look after their agencies.
We haven't received a communication.
No, but you've spoken to Minister King
Correct.
about the contents of that
Yes.
letter, right? Thank you. So, if a 5% saving measure was applied to your agency, what would the financial cost be? What would the saving be of Airservices?
Well, our income is $1 billion, and our expenses are sitting at around $1.1 billion. So 5% of that would be $50 million, and we've committed to $100 million this year.
Right. To find savings of $100 million.
Correct.
Okay.
And we've already delivered a run rate of 65.
Well, that was Minister King very happy with that?
She was.
Good.
Yes.
I bet
she
she
said I
was.
should do more.
Yes, I bet she was. Okay, and Minister King was also happy with your priorities, the thing that you in your corporate plan, obviously, your highest priorities. Those priorities.
We've been.
Have you structured your corporate plan in that manner?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And one of the other costs for us is PFAS, which is the remediation, quite substantial. So we've also been briefing the department and the Minister's office in regards to that pipeline of costs that will continue to come through over future years.
Okay. I've just got some questions that have come in from concerned citizens in Brisbane about the sod props. So, at last Senate estimates, Mr Curran stated that Airservices Australia had revised downwards their Brisbane Airport sod props target of 5.3% to 3.2%. It now appears even this percentage will not be achieved for 2025 and is more likely to come in at 2.7%, nearly half the official target. More flights over water is totally dependent on the prioritisation of the usage of sod props. How many estimates and inquiries do we need? How could Airservices Australia have got their target percentage so wrong and what measures are you taking to improve the situation?
Thank you, Senator. I'll pass to Mr Curran on the detail.
Oh, Mr Curran, there you are.
However, just to paint the picture, the sod props percentage that we run in Sydney is around 4.5%. We did set a target of 5.8 based on historic weather patterns in Brisbane. So that target was one that we did set about a year ago.
Yep.
And, the numbers that have been quoted are how we're tracking towards that. I'll just pass to Mr Curran.
Senator, thank you for the question. I'd obviously like to double-check my evidence, but my recollection, and certainly what I would have intended to say, wasn't that we were revising the target downward. The target remains the target of 5.3%, but the forecast for our performance this year will fall short of the 5.3%, and at that time we were forecasting 3.2% for the calendar year 2025.
And what is your... We're nearly at the end of the calendar year, so Mr Curran, what's your best number today?
We are, I beg your pardon, we're forecasting 3.2% now. I think it may have been 3.
Is that now?
That's as at today. We're forecasting 3.2% for the full year, and so that is going to fall short of the 5.3% target. But just to be clear, Senator, I don't believe I suggested we would revise the target down. The target remains the target. And for perhaps some important context, in 2024...
what will be the achievement against the target? You think it'll still come in at 3.2?
That's correct. That's what we're forecasting for this year. But for context, prior to the ministerial direction at the end of 2024 and for the calendar year 2024, we achieved only 1.14%. And so we have increased that substantially this year. We have other initiatives underway which we think will help continue to unblock some of the limitations we have in the amount of sod props we can do when the weather and traffic conditions permit. And so we're continuing to work toward that target.
So Australia adopted the reduction of tailwind speed from 10 knots to 5 knots some years ago. Can you provide a date when this occurred and the current status of the application for an increase in tailwind speed at Brisbane Airport to 7 knots?
Senator, I would have to take the first question on notice as to what date Australia moved away from the 10 knots to 5 knots. There is a runway use program trial which actually is commencing in Brisbane tonight, and that runway use program enables pilots to make the determination, should they deem it appropriate, to operate with a tailwind greater than 5 knots but less than 10 knots.
And that starts tonight?
It starts tonight in Brisbane, and that trial is led by Brisbane Airport Corporation. We've supported it, and it's an opt-in trial, so it's at the discretion of the pilot in command.
Well, I'm absolutely confident that everybody that's struggled with this over recent years will contact my office over the incoming days and weeks to let me know how that's going. Airservices Australia's procurement process for One Sky, the amalgamation of domestic and defence departments' airspace, commenced in 2010, 15 years ago, and is due to go live in late 2027. Does Airservices Australia still stand by this timeline for delivery?
Senator, maybe if I can just kick off. We were asked to provide a timeline and schedule, which we have provided. That gives insight as to the steps to actually achieve that date. We are on track for that. Now, it is aggressive, but we're still targeting that date. And we've had some good progress with Telus on testing. The Melbourne site is finished with the software up and running. And all indications at this point are that we're on track for that day.
Thank you. I've got some questions about the Cairns fire station premises upgrades. What was the budgeted amount for upgrades and refurbishment of the Cairns fire station at the airport?
I'll have to take that on notice.
Really?
Michelle?
I reckon there's about $4 million worth of salaries here at the table.
I'll just ask... Okay, sorry, we don't have it here. I'll see whether the team can get it for you, but otherwise it's on.
Thank you. Well, I know Senator Collins has some questions for you, so maybe someone can find that. I've got a suite of questions around the Cairns Airport.
Maybe I'll find that.
It was a blast from the past.
Did you have questions for Airservices? Casa.
Thank you, though.
Can I just follow up with you with Airservices? What information do you have on curfews?
On curfew?
Yes.
It's a matter for the department and the minister. We don't have any responsibility for setting those policies.
Sir, if I may, I believe you had a query around curfews at Townsville and Newcastle. And my understanding is we provided that information, I think, to your office, which was that there is not a curfew at either of those locations.
Well, there absolutely was a curfew last Thursday night.
Well,
It's very... And for all the boarding school kids coming home, you couldn't go back to their accommodation, had to find a motel room, unsupervised. What could possibly go wrong?
Senator, sorry, if I may just correct that. At Townsville, there is no curfew. There is a civilian curfew, we understand it, in Newcastle. But it might be better that we provide that in writing on notice just to make sure we get that exactly right.
Thank you.
Any updates on Cairns? Yay, look at that.
Michelle Peterson, Chief Aerodromes Officer. So Cairns Fire Station, sorry, I've just got to get back on my phone, is part of Phase 1A ARF Next Gen, which has just recently been approved by Public Works Committee.
Right.
Cairns ARF Station rebuild, including the building fit-out and the coal drill ground, will be coming in at $4.1 million.
$4.1 million. How many firefighters are there at Cairns, full-time and part-time?
I would need to take that on notice and I'll come back to you on that
I'd
one.
also like to understand if they're there 24/7.
Correct, they are.
Yep. And I assume that's why they're fully equipped with toasters, ironing facilities, washing machines, sofas, dishwashers, barbecues, blenders, air fryers, everything including the kitchen sink in this build.
Good.
Correct, yes.
Is there more we can give them?
This
They do
is
a
a
great
major
job.
upgrade for the Cairns Fire Station at Cairns Airport. What was the budgeted amount for the weather protection walkway?
I would need to take that question on notice. So just for clarity, Cairns Fire Station was actually destroyed as part of Cyclone Yespa.
Yep.
So they are now in a temporary building. As part of ARF Next Gen Phase 1A, we'll be moving them to a permanent facility.
Okay, thank you. And the Adelaide Fire Station at Adelaide Airport cost $1.386 million. What's the difference between the two?
Again, I would need to take that one on notice. ARF, again, Cairns building at the moment is a rebuild, as in it's a brand new building. The Adelaide ARF station was a retrofit, i.e. the station existed and then we made renovations to the station.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I have no further questions for Airservices.
Thank you. So,
To avoid taking that question on notice...
hang on, let me get this right. Sorry, you both have questions? You don't? You do? No, I know you, but I saw you waving your hand. I'm asking, do you have questions too? You don't? Okay. I can see Mr. Cohen, but you have questions. I do. Right.
Thank you.
Can you go, Mr. Cohen?
Thank you, Chair. Just to address the question rather than take it on notice, the number of firefighters employed at Cairns is a total of 47 at present.
Senator Colbeck.
Thank you. I just want to go back to Hobart and the conversation we had last time with respect to the current proposals that are there. I just want to go back to the conversation that we had with respect to the sequence. When we first looked at the new change back in 2017, I think it was, there was one flight path that came in. After it went to a review with complaints from people at Dunalley, there were two, RNAV and the RNP. Can I acknowledge the work that you've done with respect to moving? I've got the pretty coloured map in front of me right now, with the revised option for the RNP with a 2K buffer on that. And it clearly makes a big difference in terms of overflight with respect to residential areas, which are quite clearly shown up on the My understanding, though, is that from the flight path there's a 3 kh side range where the pilots can fly. So with a 2 km line on the map, but really a 3 km band, it starts to really, well, the pilots could, if they cut it tight, still fly over Primrose Sands, and there's a fairly dense population there, and on the other side there's Connolly's March. I still don't understand why we've got 2 flight paths, particularly once you get past the Barville. I really don't understand why there's 2 flight paths.
So we've got the experts here. So
the reality is, and I'm talking to pilots, there's only ever going to be 1 aircraft beyond the Barville, and I get that you might save a little bit of fuel, or the airlines might save a little bit of fuel, but I'm a bit over the airlines at the moment, like some of my colleagues. I've been left in airport lounges too long. And so I'm really interested in the well-being of the people under the flight path in this circumstance. So why can't we go back to the RNAV where it's been relocated to? If I look at the map, it's pretty much clear of anybody, and the impact is on the airlines, not the residents under the flight path. Why can't we do that?
Senator, we do have the experts here, and we can.
I'm not one, I admit that, but I'm just looking at the map and I'm
the first comment
communicating with the same people you're communicating.
Those lines that you talk to are the centre line of an area, and pilots will drift either way, and so there's typically a pathway there. I'll pass to Ms O'Day initially, but we do have Ms Marshall, who's actually just been down in Hobart recently talking to the community about these exact flight paths.
Thanks, Rob. So, Jackie O'Day, Chief Risk, Noise and Environment Officer, Airservices Australia. Thank you, Senator, for the question. And as Mr Sharp said, we have just released the preferred design for recommendation 4 on the 17th of November, and Ms Marshall, my colleague, was in Hobart this last weekend consulting with the community down there around that. There were 2 recommendations, as you're aware. Recommendation 4, which shifted the existing arrival path 2 to 3 kilometres to the east. And then there was a second recommendation, recommendation 6, which moved the longer arrival path of the east coast route over water. And we did a lot of community consultation in Hobart, and recommendation 4 was found to provide a number of benefits, as you mentioned, the key one being the number of people directly overflown was reduced from 971 to 94. It also reduced the number of people subject to noise levels above 60 decibels from 1,153 to 100. So there were some very clear reasons, and I could go on. It also did involve a benefit to densely populated communities which are currently overflown at lower altitudes.
Can I give you points for all of that?
Yes.
But there are still 2 flight paths, and if you look at the RNAV, and I look at the map with all the lines and the colours on it, the impact of the RNAV comes back even more. So those 150 or 98 that are being impacted by the RNP are reduced even more. That's what I'm interested in, and I still don't understand why we can't go back to where we started with the 1 flight path, which is largely over unpopulated areas, and just completely minimise the impact. I'm not interested in the East Coast stuff. I think that you've made the right decision there. Again, uneducated, but having read your material, I support it.
Senator. Huh? Don't sell yourself short. You're one of the most experienced ones.
But I still don't get why there has to be 2. Why couldn't we be running with the RNAV and really minimise the impact? Don't care about the airlines, don't care about that stuff. I mean, we pay for that in our airfares, get all that. But impact of the people who are under it every single day with the noise going over the top. I mean, I'll give you points for minimising it. I can see what you've done, but I still don't understand why there has to be 2 flight paths given the likelihood of 2 aircraft being past the Barvor at any one time is pretty much zero.
So, Senator, in relation to that, I'm going to have to defer to my colleague, Ms Marshall, who is the Head of Community Engagement, and if I could ask her to come to the table to
While you're
respond to that
deferring,
question.
if I just check Senator Colbeck as the regular member of the committee, we've got 8 other agencies. Are we on time?
I want to get
No, I'm not
just to be
rushing
quick,
you.
and then we can go on to
Sure.
the next
And
one.
then we're going to have our break. But are we on time, or do we have to release anyone? To the best of your knowledge, have a think about it. Anyway.
I will think about
All
that.
right, Senator Colbeck.
I can make some executive decisions while my colleagues are away.
I'll make it for you.
Senator Donna Marshall, Head of Community Engagement with Airservices Australia. There's a couple of factors at play with why we've got the 2 flight paths. One is that they, as I briefly tried to explain last time, they serve different aircraft types. So the RNPAR, which is the shorter one, is used by aircraft that are equipped with that technology. And so because we have aircraft flying into Hobart that have that technology, as an air navigation service provider, we need to provide that. And so that's why we need to keep that one. There's another thing...
Yeah, but you can tell them where to go. I mean, and I'm not telling to rack off, but you can determine... They have the technology,
Yep.
GPS-based, this is the path, you fly it, right? That's the technology, am I right?
Absolutely. And
so you can tell them where to fly.
Yeah. The other factor, though, is, and having just been in Hobart this weekend, the communities that are close to that RNAV alignment, they are not supportive of having the RNPAR even moved the 3 kilometres closer to them, because they're very low ambient noise communities. And so even though there's not a large population directly under the RNAV, there's communities that are within a certain distance of that RNAV procedure that every time a plane uses it, they can hear it. And so through the noise abatement procedure that we implemented last December, we've actually changed the balance of use of the flight paths. And so now that RNAV is getting around about 60% of all movements, and the short approach, the AR, is getting about 40%. And the communities I spoke to last weekend that are subject to that RNAV, they're feeling that they're getting, excuse me, the bulk of the operations. And so for us to then
Well, they are, aren't they?
Well, they are. They're getting 60%. And so if we were then to just pick up the RNPAR and put it on the RNAV, not only would we be disbenefiting industry, who have spent money to equip their aircraft to fly that procedure, but we'd also be putting all of the impact on one flight path. There's no noise sharing. It's all on one community.
So we annoy 2 lots of people instead of 1. And as I said, I don't care about the airlines. I've had enough of that.
One of the principles that we have is to try and be equitable and share the noise where we can. That means one community gets more noise, the other less. That balance always ends up with some debate, and that's played out.
No, I get that.
But we do prioritise noise over aircraft benefits or airline benefits, particularly as they're coming into airports and the noise is major. As the flights are higher, there's more propensity to look at track miles and other benefits for the airlines. But that's how we try to balance that equation between the efficiency of flying, the flow-on cost of the community versus the noise for those who are overflowing.
So, all right, I don't think I'm going to win anything here, but I would have preferred to have seen the documentation that you presented more accurately reflect the range that's available. Also, you put a 2K range across the line, and the regs say 3. It makes, when I look at it, I thought, gee, that looks pretty good. It looks way better. But if I make that line 3K, it really does start to have a big impact over more people. And I can understand why people might see that as misleading. I'll leave it there. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for the data on the water. Appreciate that. I'll make sure that my constituents get access to that information.
Okay, thank you, Senator Colbeck. Thanks very much.